Hey guys, Tjryan Gaming here, back with another video, and in today's video, guys, I wanted to give you my first impressions of the Infinite Warfare beta. And before we get this started, I will say I'm max rank, I'm level 30. I have used pretty much most of the guns. I like to say most of the guns. I didn't use all the shotguns, I would say, and I don't really snipe. But other than that, I've used pretty much all the guns in the game that we can unlock. I've been earning salvage. Like, I've taken part in all of the different parts that you can within the beta, played all the game modes, played all the maps, all that kind of stuff. So I think I have a pretty well understanding to actually make this first impressions video, just to let you guys know about that right off the bat. So I have a lot to talk about here, so we're just going to jump right into it. So we're going to start out with some pros. When I first started playing the beta, it was a lot of fun, right? I think that was mostly because it was a new Call of Duty, and even though, like, every year when the next Call of Duty comes out, whether it's generally liked or not, it's generally going to be fun in the beginning, just because it's a new experience. People are not used to it since we've played the old COD for so long. But honestly, it just feels a lot like Black Ops 3, and that's not a bad thing. It kind of feels like Ghosts. It kind of feels like it's Ghosts with the Black Ops 3 movement. That's what it feels like. And Ghosts is pretty much one of the most hated CODs, so I don't know if that's a good idea to put Ghosts in Black Ops 3 movement. But I mean, I guess that's up to personal preference. I personally didn't like Ghost. I liked Black Ops 3. But honestly, at the same time, this game doesn't need the movement. It just feels like it could have been boots on the ground with the futuristic vibe, kind of how Black Ops 2 is. And look how good Black Ops 2 ended up with a futuristic vibe and boots on the ground. So I just feel like a classic playlist might help this game. I've seen some other people talking about it, and I have to agree it would. It might actually work to put a classic playlist. I know it didn't work in AW. Just because most of the maps were designed for constantly boosting around. But honestly, the maps aren't that sought after for like boosting and stuff. There's actually the newer map that they just added, the name is slipping my mind, is like completely like you didn't need any movement on that map at all. There's stairs for everything. There's only like a few areas where you actually need to boost up to, and they're not even really used when you have boost jumping. I never find myself in those areas. So it's really not something you actually need. But anyway, moving on, the hit detection is very good in this game. I never seem to have shot someone, or I never seem to have been shot and then watch the kill cam and say, hey, that I wasn't standing there, or something like that. Like, kind of like how Black Ops 3 has it right now, and many other CODs in the past. That's just an annoying feature. And also, when your accuracy and you're hitting someone, you're actually hitting them. Your reticle is actually aimed up with your gun, which is really nice because definitely in games like Ghosts and AW, stuff like that. I think even a little bit in Black Ops 3 had that issue at first. I don't know if they fixed it majority, but I think it did have that early on. But yeah, the hit detection is very good. The weapon balancing is pretty good, and I know I just made a video about a really overpowered gun yesterday, but at the same time, I think most of the guns are balanced. The NV4 and the ERAD are actually probably the two best guns. But other than that, there's a lot of other guns that you can actually use and be successful with. And I like that about it. I just would say they do need to have a weapon balancing patch ready. Right, like, they need to have that on launch day, because there are a few guns like the NV4 and the ERAD that do need a little bit of a nerf. But moving on, the spawns aren't horrible in the game. They're actually pretty decent. You have a slower movement to start off with unless you're running the right perks. So that is helping with spawns a little bit, which I do not have any complaints on. And now, guys, it's time to move on to the cons. So we went through all the pros. That there's definitely some good parts of the game. And now moving on to the cons, which unfortunately there's a lot more cons than there are pros. So the advanced movement in general is always a bad thing, right? No one really wants boots on the ground, and I think one of the problems to this is that a lot of people are just bandwagoning and just saying, hey, put COD back on the ground, just because literally everyone else is saying it. But coming from someone who literally just wants COD to be back on the ground, considering the last 3 games, including this game, have been up in the air and jumping around with boosts, and it's just insane. It ruins the consistency of the game, and it just, you can't, it's too like chaotic. There's too much stuff going on, and the developers, when they see everyone bandwagoning like that, they say like, hey, we have a good idea here. Everyone's just saying it because other people are saying it, and they're taking everyone's opinions, and that's not always the case with most people. But unfortunately, that is happening a lot right now, and that's forcing the developers to ignore us. And they see it as kind of like a cool thing, like, hey, well, boost jumping around, you're going to have a mid-air battle, it'll be really cool. But honestly, you just can't, because it's so chaotic and crazy. You can't keep up with everything that's happening most of the time. And I think that COD, when it was boots on the ground, had a lot more consistency and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that next year we can go back to boots on the ground solely. But it's a good thing that they did actually remaster COD 4. That way we will have that boots on the ground option this year. So the next thing I want to talk about is the maps. They're trash. I'm not going to lie. You can't sugarcoat this in any way. The maps are trash. Black Ops 3 runs a 3-lane system. That's how Treyarch pretty much runs all their maps. I prefer the 3-lane system over anything else. And I think they tried to take the 3-lane system and they just ruined it. Because if you look at a map like Throwback, which is one of the beta maps, there's technically 3 lanes. 2 of them are only used because the third one is just completely useless. And the 2 lanes that are used are just so overly chaotic. There's too many flanking routes on most of the maps. There's the one with the space station, I think it's Frontier. I think that's what it's called. The one on that small space station is just insane. There's not even really 3 lanes. They have a middle lane, and then they start the 2 side lanes, but then they get blocked off. You have to go down underneath. There's like 100 different flanking routes. It's so hard to stay alive. It's insanity. So you just literally cannot keep up with anything going on. So the Infinity Ward, the last 2 games you guys had, you really have to step up your map design, because well, what you're doing is you're slowing down movement speed and you're increasing map size. Now I will say a lot of the maps are smaller in this game, but when you have this many flanking routes in a smaller map, it just makes it so chaotic you can't keep up with anything. So, moving on, the rigs are completely unbalanced. No, like some rigs, like I forget the name, I think it's Striker or something like that. The first rig you unlock, the very first one on that list, he has the claw ability. It's extremely overpowered. You can destroy people at range and meet close up. And literally, I don't think I will ever be able to beat that thing in a regular gunfight. Rigs are pretty much designed in this game for people who can't get kill streaks and can't play well with their own gun. So they're pretty much designed for people who have their gun that they choose in their class, but they can't do well with it. So they wait for their ability, and they use the abilities because they're so overpowered. The dual-wield machine guns, or submachine guns on Synaptic overpowered. His, like, all 4 mode where he comes and chases after you and is a one-shot melee. That's pretty good. And then you have someone like Merc, which really doesn't have that good of abilities. Like, he has the shield thing, but like that's so easily countered. You can't really get too many kills with it. You're totally susceptible to gunshots from every other direction around you. It's really just stupid that they wouldn't make more creative stuff for them and make their abilities a little stronger, since they have stuff like the claw or Synaptic's abilities and stuff like that. So I'm pretty sure that's just it for the cons, guys. That there's obviously a little more cons than pros. I generally give this game a 5 out of 10 so far. Obviously it is a beta, but at the same time, the game has gone gold. I think yesterday Infinity Ward tweeted that out, and if you don't know what that means, it means the game is done. They sent it off for release. It's ready to go, and on release we'll all get to play it. So I think the best thing they could do is just have a few patches on day 1, just to fix a few of the base issues. But a lot of the things that we have now, the bigger issues, they really don't have time to fix, and they can't at this point since they've sent the game off now. But anyway, guys, I hope you did enjoy the video. Again, I'm going to call it a 5 out of 10. I don't like the game. I don't love the game, but I don't hate the game. I'm kind of in the middle stance. We'll see how the full game launch is, but right now, I think they definitely need to change a lot of things. Right now, it's very fun, though, I will say that. It's pretty fun to start off and play, but again, it's probably just because of it's a new COD and stuff like that. But I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please leave a like if you did. Subscribe for more if you aren't already, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.